There. That's enough mind-boring content to trigger anyone. Now all I got to do is use some excessive verbiage and a little more content, and people will be going crazy. This client had a sense of humor. Fragile. No, it's not Italian. This is a wood case. It came from Alabama. Yep, Birmingham. And inside it is a Richard King 48-inch single edge, no angle, straight edge. And I see a couple right here you probably put in for blocks inside. I almost bet there'd be one in line here, but I don't feel it. William, I do charge by the screw, by the way. Money. All right. I don't know how much this one cost. I don't keep up with prices. This is about 6 or 7 years I've been planning these, and I've always been happy with the finished product. Seems like today, now everybody's trying to get in on the deal. Guys, a lot of people I see, they take the easy stuff and make their money on it, like the casting, selling them, having them cast and all that. The hard part's in the machining and finishing the straight edge. So I think there's only one guy that I know for sure, that Dennis Foster, that casts his own straight edges and will sell them to you finished. But they're a valuable tool. It's what was used in making this, probably. Now, remember I said something about a wet noodle? That thing is 4 foot long. It's 1 inch wide here and about 2.5 inches down here. Made out of cast hot metal. This one is pretty good. The amount of metal in the different places here is roughly the same. So it it solidifies about the same time and cools off about the same time. Now, this is a 4 foot, it's called an HK 48. Means it doesn't have an angle. And it's not too heavy. Let's compare. Ah, dang. Oh. This is a Kingway HKA for angle 48 incher. Notice any difference? One's a pain in the butt to lift up. Two, this one has an angle right here. And three, the way they cast these things puts a lip right here. And basically I have to plane this surface flat all the way over to these, close to these ribs right here. Other difference is, this is a lot more metal down here when it was cast. And I always find that they bow a lot because of the cooling. So I will probably have to take a 1/4 inch off each end to get down to the meat of the, where it's flat all the way across. So there's a lot more machining involved in these than that one. If you do not need an angle this long, buy that one. This one's almost going to require me using a crane, one of my jib cranes, to pick it up and off the table over there. Mainly because I don't want to drop it and bust up my granite surface. So these are a lot harder to do. And I've got, instead of just one precision surface, I've got another one over here. This one I just plane to where it's flat. I think it's too much to get all three of those for the amount of money that I charge. And you don't really ever use this side. So that's the difference. I want to tell you this. This isn't the absolute right way to do it. It's the way I've developed to do it. I've done hundreds of these. And over the years, I figured out how to do it and not tear them up. So, sure, I can take more metal off. I can go a lot faster, but I don't want to. I want to show you something. Where's the little camera? I wanted to show you something here. Turn this sucker on. Remember I said that this machine is one of the few that can make itself new on the table? Now this table's in the shape I got it. I cleaned it real good when I first got it. And I was sitting there not knowing a whole bunch about planers. So I asked people in the community that did know about planers. And I had read that you can, resurface these things would be great. And they said, until you get really good at planing, you don't touch that table because you can screw it up. So I've left it alone. This is the way it came from the factory. If you'll notice these lines right here, those are all step over marks. And these little bright lines are higher than the dark center by just a little bit. And the reason they did that was so you don't stick your metal or your casting to the table. Those little lines keep it elevated so there's only a small percentage of the surface touching the table. You can move it around. And they give me a pretty good indication when something's wrong, too much wear or something in one area, because you can see all the way down, and you can check these out. They're all still in good shape. All right. This first surface, I always turn like this and try to set it in there. Now, my goal is to make the bottom flat parallel with this side. And so I use a little square and can adjust up or down on this to get it square and parallel. So right now this one say it needs to come up almost an eighth of an inch. This is the best use for all parallels. See how it's casting. It's a wet noodle. When you clamp something down to the table, you need to take that into account. Touching here, and now touching there when I do. But it's kicking this end up. So it's just a game here. And I still need to pick it up about 1/16 of an inch on some of these places. Yeah, I'm looking right there. That's pretty good on that part right there. Now we'll come down here. Look in and see what we have. That looks pretty good there. Oh, what's happening here? Way up in the air. Enough to where two will go under this one. That's tight, that's good there. So now we're going to clamp it down. And the only problem about putting it in that T-slot right there is now I don't have a lot of places to clamp down. But as I told you, you always clamp where you put a shim right there. So I'm going to clamp right there and one right there. And I tell you what, I may put another one over here. We'll see. See what I can get under there. That's pretty good right there. And that's good there. So now I've got 4 points that are tight. What I'm doing here is actually trying to stop this thing from moving forward. But I also have to be below the surface of this quite a bit, which that is. So that'll be a nice stop. This is something people don't realize. There's more time in setup than there is actual machining on these things. And during scraping classes, I think I did 30 one year. I did one setup and then I could do 5 or 6 at a time of the same kind. So that made it better. Can you reach? Nope. Now let's just do it from this way. That's going to span 2 of these. I think that'll be fine. I got a set of these 2 years ago now. Bought like 600 pounds of tie down stuff. That one's rounded off too much. Before anybody gets triggered by the use of a precision block, they're not precision. They're the cheap ones off of eBay from China, 20 for $100 or whatever they were. They make wonderful setup blocks. Try it. You'll like it. One of the basic things you have to do on these straight edges is remember that when this bit comes along, it hits a straight up and down surface, and that can tear chunks out of cast iron. So you always need to put a little 45 on here so that the bit can ease into the work. Now we're not going to take a lot off of this. We're just going to get it just to where it's straight all the way. I also need to do it on the other end where it comes off. Okay. Sorry about the buzzing, but we got to have some power. Alrighty. Got the bevel on it. I'm going to start the machine and bring it over here and set my bit to the correct everything. On this side of the machine, it's got bolts going through here. And I always leave this wrench up here on this last one when I tighten them up so that I know this is unlocked. I don't want to break that weld up there again. So what we need to do is get going. About as low as I can get it. just, this is where it just comes right here. But I found that if you let it go back there, it gives this block time to settle. When you're trying to get 1/2,000, you need all the rigidity and settle time before it hits the wood. Metal. Running over the surface. A lot of times there's unevenness. And if you just start at one end and touch off on one end, heck, you can have 30, 40, 50 thousandths higher down on the other. So go across until you know all your high spots are knocked off. There's a high spot, it just touched in the middle. I'd have set that at the other end, I'd been in trouble. Always feed down. I clamp my box. Oh, that ain't right worth a damn. Now that I've beat the crap out of this blade with all these rough castings, rust and dirt and everything, I'm going to switch to my finishing blade and put a cut on that and see what we can do with that one. Gotta hurry, I gotta get to a dress rehearsal tonight. Theater group I'm in. Every year at Halloween goes to the local cemetery and finds 6 notable people that are buried there, writes a script about their life. The town I live in is very historic. When Santa Ana was marching on Texas, Sam Houston and everybody else was over about 6 miles out of town on the Brazos River, a little place called Washington on the Brazos. And they were writing our Constitution for Declaration of Independence for Texas. So we have all kinds of people around here that are, you know, very central to the history of Texas. This year I get to play with a guy that was a lawyer. Oh boy. Into automatic crossover feed. It's almost a ground finish, guys. What I'll do now is take a little file and file those sharp edges off. And then we turn it over and do the other side. Demagnetize that. This side doesn't matter so much because it's going to be cut off of there. There we go.